Day 5 of COP29, and delegates are still streaming in for the various negotiations. Remember, the nature of these negotiations is not that everything happens in one room at the same time. No, there's hundreds of things on the agenda items, and so the negotiators split themselves based on their areas of interest and based on the different agenda items that are of priority for the respective groups and the respective countries that they represent. And we've entered that phase of the negotiations where things are moving, you might say slowly, because this week is still the technical week, so it's the technical part of the negotiations where the negotiators go through every single word of every draft text, every word, every comma, every full stop, every bracket. And so it takes a while before we get to hear anything. And so far, the second draft of the negotiating text on finance has not yet been approved. It came out the day before yesterday. It was published the day before yesterday. It has not yet been approved. Discussions are still going on around that, and finance is one of the areas that Kenya is following. Gender is also another area where Kenya is following. And yesterday when we left this site at around 8:30 p.m. we met a group of Kenyan negotiators going into negotiations on gender. Now, because this is still the technical week where things are still moving slowly, the negotiations are starting to go later and later and later into the night. So it's so surprising when you find people here still at 8-9 p.m. However, because this is the COP, controversy does not miss. And one of the things that have happened is that some key climate policy leaders have written to the UN asking that this COP process be reviewed and kick out the people who are wasting time here, people who don't really care about climate change, and have this meeting of more and more frequently, and have this meeting hosted in countries that are alive to the climate crisis and really want to do something about the climate crisis. And these leaders I'm talking about include Christiana Figueres, who's a former executive director of the UN Climate Change, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It includes Ban Ki-moon, former UN Secretary General, as well as Mary Robinson. Mary Robinson is the former president of Ireland, and at COP28 she kicked up a storm as well when she released an excerpt of a conversation she had with the COP president at the time, in which the COP president was recorded on tape saying that there is no evidence that shows that phasing out fossil fuels will bring the world to the 1.5 degree temperature, will limit the world to the 1.5 degree temperature rise that the Paris Agreement aspires to. And that created a storm at the COP, because he's the president of the COP, and the COP is often looking to phase out fossil fuels. So if the president talks like that, what does it mean for how the COP process will go? Bajaber himself ended up denying those claims. And even here at COP29, Azerbaijan, the host, has also been criticized for being heavily invested in fossil fuels and also allowing more than 1,700 fossil fuel lobbyists. This includes people in the oil and gas industry, people in the coal industry. They've all been approved to participate in these discussions. So concern is growing about why you, who is invested in fossil fuel, allowing people in the fossil fuel industry, will be trusted to lead a discussion where the intended outcome is a phase out of fossil fuel. Today, day 5, Kenya will hold its first delegation meeting, and we are going to be there to see who are the Kenyans who are here. All the sectors of the economy are usually represented at conversations such as this. So, because every climate change affects every sector of the economy, so every sector of the economy is usually represented. So we'll get to see who are the experts who are here, what areas they're chasing, what outcomes they're looking to see through, and if they've been able to achieve anything so far. And as usual, keep it locked on Nation.Africa and TV Kenya for all the latest updates.